So we did Swell Bottles website like maybe more than 10 years ago. And more than 10 years ago, this was like groundbreaking website and won all kinds of awards. When you first land, so you start to scroll and it opens up and then you can kind of see all the different stays hot, stays cold for 12 hours, eco-friendly, and it goes all the benefits of the bottle before you actually start browsing the bottle and the products, right? When we launch a website like this, people are always coming to me like, Son, oh my gosh, the website is so good, but they can't quite explain what makes it good. But the reason why that website is so good is because I have a background, obviously, in design, typography. But if you look at just the design element, there are plenty of designers out there who can do design even more beautiful than that. But the thing is, I also have a background in copywriting and sales. So I know that if I just put bottles there, people are not going to see the benefits that this, when you go to the beach, it's going to stay cold in a hot day. When you go to a ski trip, it's going to stay warm for you. That's how I was able to connect with, okay, here are the story I want to tell, the message I want to do, right? But because I'm also a coder, I know that when you scroll on a browser, when you scroll this much, I can keep track of how much scrolling has been done. And based on that, I can trigger different things. Like, so for example, when you scroll this many pixels, I want you to slide this up so you see the next background and change the bottle color. When you slide this, I want you to slowly turn the bottle. But I also was familiar with 3D rendering and photography. So I knew that I can create 3D renders and then you see the inside of the bottle. And then based on how much you scroll, like once you scroll like 10 pixels, show this image. When you scroll 10 more pixels, show this image. So you can scroll and show the bottles turning, right? But it's all these other disciplines I had outside of design, meaning coding, photography, 3D rendering, copywriting, sales, that I was able to put into making that website dope. And I couldn't like really explain that to them people, right? But then one day I was watching a documentary about Leonardo da Vinci. And they were talking about how Leonardo da Vinci was like basically the best chemist at the time, the best physicist at the time, the best engineer. Like he was literally the best. How many of you guys, by put in the chat, actually saw my post about Leonardo da Vinci yesterday? If you haven't, just go check it out. He was a chemist, so he came up with colors that no other painters had at the time, so that he can get the most realistic skin tone on his paintings. He was, if you compare his painting with other paintings at that time, like other paintings look kind of like cartoonish, whereas his looks so realistic. And that's because he understood human anatomy and how muscle movement works and things like that, right? So all of these other areas actually made him really good at painting. So when I saw that documentary, I had a 5-second moment. I'm like, it was a familiar feeling to when I was working on that Swell Bottle website. Like my photography skill came in handy here. My copywriting skill came handy here, and all of those things. And when I made that the dot connection there, because I felt it, I'm like, okay, I can tell a story about this. It's something that I used to say to my designers all the time. This is why you should learn CSS over and over and over. And then it became more solidified. And then eventually I turned it into a carousel, right? So how do these stupid exercises help you make content? When you practice connecting the dot, right now, you're not going to be able to just do that. But when you practice this, okay, that feels like this. Oh, this feels like that moment. This feels like, at some point, it becomes so natural to you that you don't even have to try. You're going to be just watching a documentary and be like, oh my God, boop, boop. Okay, there's content, done. Like, that's what's going to happen. So just understand that underneath it all, you're just building that muscle of connecting, and it'll all come in handy.